Well, tonight I'm riding a black unicorn down the side of an erupting volcano. I am in Las Vegas, Nevada. Sorry, Las Vegas. I always get that wrong. Las Vegas, Nevada. But there's lots of Las Vegas here, that's for damn sure. And this is the August 2019 Voltaire video newsletter. There wasn't one in June and there wasn't one in July because life. Because life, that's all. I spent a lot of that time in Mexico. Went there to play a show and just fell in love with the place and decided that there was a lot of opportunities to film for my upcoming travel show, but we're going to talk about that later. Right now, we are going to talk about where am I playing near you. I wrote it down on a piece of paper. Give me a second. It's right here. Saturday, August 3rd, that's tomorrow. I am at the Piranha nightclub at Rio Casino. That's for an event called Gaze in Space. I met them because I performed at one of their Star Trek Discovery events in New York City. They are so much fun. They do these incredible drag shows. Ticket price a little steep, $30. I think most people are used to paying closer to like $15 or $20 to come see me play. But the night is going to be amazing. And if you buy a ticket from the link at voltaire.net/calendar, and you let me know that that's where you got your ticket, I'm going to give you a $15 credit at the merch booth. That's a free CD, or more than half of a t-shirt, or you can put it towards a Malicorn of Darkness. So get your ticket there if you're going to get your ticket. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow night for a really, really fun party. And then it's August 9th. I'm in Kansas City at Record Bar. Haven't played in Kansas City in a while, so that's going to be a whole lot of fun. And then I am going to be at Dragon Con, August 31st through September 2nd. It's not on their website yet because I haven't sent in the paperwork. But I promise you I'll be there. Be doing a big show in one of the ballrooms as always, and probably a whole bunch of smaller shows elsewhere. And then we're on to September 21st, I believe. I will be at Ancient City Con in St. Augustine, Florida. That's always a good time. And then September 28th, I am in Chicago at the Steampunk Exposition. I gotta switch calendars here. And then it's off to Russia. October 5th, I'm in Moscow. October 6th, I'm in St. Petersburg, Russia. And then October 19th, right, so it's October 5th and 6th, Russia. October 19th, I'm in Phoenix at FearCon. That is a horror convention at which I've performed at in the past. Fantastic show. And then October 26th, I have a private show in San Antonio, and I'm trying to book a public show on the 27th, but it hasn't happened yet, so hopefully that will come to fruition. Oh man, I'm at a crossroads here. I can't remember if the guy told me to he said left, make a left, okay. So I'm either headed towards the Strip or I'm headed towards like desolation here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm not sure which. I'm guessing by the end of this video there might be some fear and loathing involved. All right, so where does that leave us? So hopefully there'll be a public show in San Antonio on October 27th. And then Devil's Night in New Orleans. I am at the Goat. This is like my third, fourth, I don't know, fifth year in a row playing in New Orleans on Devil's Night at the Goat. So hopefully I'll see you there. And then that brings us into November 9th. I'm in Mansfield, Texas at Steampunk November. And then the 10th, I am at the Church in Dallas. And then the last show I presently have booked for 2019 is November 23rd in Mexico City. I'm going back to Mexico City to Foro Cultural Hilvana. I played there just a month ago or so, and the show was sold out. 400 people, and there were still people trying to get in. So get your tickets now. Don't wait until the day of the show because it might sell out again. And that's all of the shows that I presently have booked. And that brings us to, I don't know, something else. What else is there to talk about? Gothic Homemaking. I've been on a break. Been taking a break from Gothic Homemaking for various reasons. Primarily because I've been away from New York City filming for this yet unnamed travel show. I still do not know what it's going to be called. You know, I had settled on Mysterious Planet, and I loved that name, but then I found that it was already taken. And, you know, I've been bouncing around different... I thought about Weird Planet at one point, but when I was telling a friend of mine in Indonesia that I was filming something for Weird Planet, she looked at me and she said, "You think my country's weird?" And it made me feel bad. And I don't want other people to feel bad. I don't want people to feel like, well, look, monorail. I feel like I'm at Disney World. So I don't want other people to feel like when I'm investigating interesting things about their country that I'm objectifying their country and I think that it's weird, because I don't think it's weird. You know, when I was in Indonesia, I filmed burial rituals in Sulawesi, and I went to a place in Bali where they don't bury people at all. They just place them under a tree. And I find these things fascinating. So another name that I'd bandied about was Dark Destinations. But I also don't think it's dark. You know, it's not dark to me. Yo soy darks, sí. Soy totalmente darks. Soy tan darks que cago murciélagos. But, you know, I don't want people to think that I think of their cultures as weird or I think of their cultures as dark, because it isn't dark to me. It's beautiful and it's fascinating. And a lot of these places have very, very unique and interesting perspectives on death, which I personally think is beautiful. So I still haven't settled on a name. In Indonesia alone, I filmed Komodo dragons. Oh, it's so loud out here. Why did I come this way? I filmed Komodo dragons on the island of Komodo. You've probably seen the first episode. The second episode is very surprising. And people have been complaining that I haven't put up the second part of the episode. But that's because I really decided that these travel videos need to be their own show. So I have to come up with a name, and then I have to come up with a new animated opener. So there's quite a lot of work that has to happen before that show can become a reality. So if you have any suggestions for what the show can be called, leave them in the comments below, please. Leave out the word weird, leave out the word dark. It should be fascinating. Something fascinating, something mysterious. I go to places, go to the dark corners, the 4 dark corners of the world. I go into jungles looking for orangutans in the jungles of Sumatra. Spoiler alert, found orangutans living wild in the jungles of Sumatra. And, you know, I'm traveling all over the world and going to places where if you bury someone in the ground, there's a very, very good chance they will be mummified. So I filmed mummies in Mexico City. I filmed mummies in Guanajuato, Mexico. It's all over the map. And that's why it also can't be called dark anything, because some of the subject matter isn't at all dark. You know, like I went and filmed, orangutans. They're just so beautiful, and they're, you know, on the verge of extinction. This is a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's not something that I would think of as dark or gothic. Dolphins of Lovina. There's a darkness to that, but you're going to see that when I air it. Dolphins on Lovina Beach in Bali. You know, I have filmed so much stuff. I now have probably like 3 years worth of footage for this show. So help me come up with a name so I can finally get on to finishing that whole project and getting it up online for you to see. I'm going to duck into here because it's just so noisy out there. And what else is going on? Well, musically, I mean, I guess the most recent album is What Are the Odds, which I think is, you know, quietly living on YouTube. And I think it's why the next album, I think, has to be, you know, I don't know if you've noticed this about my musical career, but I very often make these albums that are kind of like departures. You know what? I like myself enough to pay attention while I'm crossing the street, so let's just take a break while that happens. All right, I'm across the street. Seriously, folks, cell phones are great, social media is lovely, but pay attention to what you're doing when you're crossing the street. In any case, a lot of my albums, you know, are what people might call true to form. The Devil's Briss being my first album, I think that's kind of like a unit of measurement. You know, like how true to form an album of mine is probably reliant on how much like The Devil's Briss it is. And then I have albums that are real departures. You know, there's like the country album. What Are the Odds is like a new wave album. And sometimes it ruffles some feathers. Sometimes people are like, what the hell is this? I think that's kind of what's happening with What Are the Odds. I don't think it's really kind of getting the attention that some of the other albums have gotten. But my next album, I think, is going to be, well, I have two in mind. One of them is an all Spanish album. And I'm in the process of translating a bunch of my classic songs, and I hope to go on tour in South America and perform these songs in Spanish for a Spanish audience and release an all Spanish album. And then the other album that I want to make is so insane. I want to make a sequel to Labyrinth called The Dark Labyrinth. And it's sort of a requiem mass for the dead as the Goblin King has passed away. And of course, it's a not so subtle metaphor for my hero David Bowie having passed away. And the album is a tribute to the Goblin King and to David Bowie. And I think it's going to be fun like Labyrinth, but also very, very dark. And I think that would be an album that, with lots of, I don't know, Wagnerian bravado and Celtic rhythms and however else Devil's Briss was described, I think it probably will be a lot like that. And that's pretty much what's going on in my life. I am in Las Vegas right now for this show tomorrow night. And then I return to New York, and then I'm off to Kansas City, and then I'm off to Dragon Con. And in there somewhere, I have to make a plan for Gothic Homemaking. I really have to make a plan. I have to sit down and plan out a bunch of episodes and make up for lost time. I've been away from home for a long time. I need to sit down and film a bunch of these things. I shot something last night for the first time in a long time for Gothic Homemaking. It was an interview with Brendan Steer, the director of a film called Velocipastor, which I happen to be in. And that was a lot of fun, and it reminded me how much fun Gothic Homemaking it is. How much fun Gothic Homemaking is. I think I am actually going to try to renovate the bathroom, and if not just the bathroom, possibly also the kitchen. So you might be seeing some of that coming up on Gothic Homemaking. Holy smokes, the doorman told me I was completely insane when I told him that I was going to walk to Caesar's Palace. I'm not on the Strip, and it's quite literally 100 degrees. 100 degrees here in Las Vegas, and I'm wearing a blazer, and this may not have been my wisest choice of the day. But alas, here we are, and I'm going to stick it out, because everything that I do, I really try to give it 150%. Even dumb things like I'm going to walk to Caesar's Palace and, on the surface of Mercury. In any case, thank you so much for watching my channel. Stay tuned for a lot of awesome content that's going to come your way. And whenever you guys name this travel show of mine, I think you're going to be completely blown away by the things I'm going to show you on that program. Until then, live long and prosper.